Work right now? Yeah, work right now. Sweet. Let's go into presenting mode. Okay, so we're Epic Team 2. We did the active versus passive user control experiment. So first we're just going to explain what virtual reality is. By definition, Wikipedia says that virtual reality is a replication of an environment that simulates physical presence in real or imagined worlds. Basically what this means is it has tighter control over sensory inputs than a traditional game, and it results in higher user immersion in the experience. So what we wanted to prove is we wanted to find how to provide the best virtual reality experience for users. So the specific variable we were testing was user-controlled motion versus passive motion. So what we're trying to do is ensure complete overlap of virtual and physical space for the user and study the effect of motion control on an immersion level. Now what we're defining active and passive user control as is active control is when the user has complete control over their character's motion. So this is either with a joystick, a keyboard, directional input, something. Or passive control is they only have very limited control, if any. Either someone else is controlling it or they're just going like down a hill, they have no stopping power or anything. So our hypothesis is we believe that when the user has control of any kind, they'll feel more engaged in their virtual reality experience and it will therefore be better. So how we're trying to prove this is we have 4 tasks. The task orders are randomized between users to avoid any biasing. Like they can end the task if they become nauseous. We don't want to keep people in virtual reality too long and make them sick. That's just unpleasant for everybody. Then if there's a glitch in the game, that's counted as part of the experience. Like we can't change the games we're using. And we can't afford to redo entire experiments if one little thing goes wrong. So like we were saying, we divided the experiment into 2 main tasks. Each task has an active and a passive version. So our goal is to obtain accurate results across multiple levels of engagement and have participants fill in the survey after each trial. So the games we're using, the first one on the left there is called Luge. You're basically in a sled, you go down a hill, you don't have any control over your speed. The active version, you do have control over your direction. In the passive version, one of us is driving it for you, which had varying levels of success, but it was mostly representative of what the game would actually be like. The asteroid race, for passive control, you have no control over your speed, someone else is handling that. They're boosting at random times to ensure that the control is viewed as being as passive as possible. Then when you have active control, you can control the speed you're going, and in both versions of the game, you have to dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge to avoid asteroids.
So our survey consisted of 19 questions, and we conducted it on all the 10 participants that participated in our experiments. So since this was an in-class experiment, all the participants had some exposure to VR and of the age group of 22 to 26. They were also asked about their previous experience with Oculus before actually conducting the experiment. So we divided the 19 questions into 4 categories. Those are absorption, flow, presence, and immersion. As you can see, for both the games, passive control has less absorption and people are more comfortable in the active control. And in Luge, people are not very happy with the game. The same is the case with the flow, immersion, as well as the presence. So we can say that the degree of user control greatly influences virtual reality experience. And the results confirm our hypothesis that users are more immersed and engaged when they have the control versus when they are only watching the game and not actually playing it. And
yeah, we did see that they have more sense of presence and flow when the game is being passively controlled by someone else.
Okay. So that's it.
Okay, we did record some things participants said. Someone was saying, "Is it over already? I want to play more," indicating that they were very engaged in the gameplay. Kanye West came in at one point. He said, "I'm going to let you finish, but Epic Team 2 is the best Epic Team of all time." This may or may not have actually happened. And then someone else said, "I'm not wearing that thing again," indicating that like they were possibly immersed in the user experience, but it was not a good experience for them. So that is our presentation.